Good evening, everybody. This is a live emergency severe weather briefing as we do have a tornado warning for Clay County in northwestern Texas. And this is just to the southeast of Petrolia. This was a northern most of the two supercells that fired there in northwestern Texas. And this storm is just moving in to that deeper shear. So I'm going to fire up the code red here because this is a potentially life-threatening situation. Crossing Highway 148 here to the south of Petrolia, halfway between Petrolia and Henrietta, Texas. So this is crossing 148 right now. You can see that hook-like appendage wrapping all the way around there. And these fired on the cold front. There was a mode of renegades that tried to get going out near the Bowie area. There is a special weather statement out there out near Gainesville. I do think long term, this is probably going to be the most dangerous storm here right near Gainesville as it's maturing. Just texted Alex Gator. He's out chasing out of Dallas right now, the drone racer. And right now he's headed for this storm that is tornado warm, but I just told him that there's this monster storm right now near Gainesville that's really gaining strength rapidly. And this one is right in the core of the strongest wind shear. This is right near Gainesville, just to the west of Gainesville, near the Lindsay area right now. You can see this well-defined hook-like appendage extending off to the southwest side, trying to peel off left split as well on the northern edge here. So this storm is starting to ramp up very quickly. Not really seeing much yet in the way of rotation, but I know that it is starting to rotate. The storm is just starting to ramp up there, and that mode of renegades, I think, long term is going to be the main tornado threat. As these are on the cold front, that seems to be surging a little bit, and this storm has been able to reach out with that hook-like appendage and reach into that unstable air a little bit on the front, but it is about to get undercut, it appears. This storm to the south of Wichita Falls has been undercut. You can see that outflow boundary right there. But this storm is the tornadic one. Let's take a look at velocity. And does have a pretty strong couplet here. This is as of about 6:21 p.m. Central Standard Time. Pretty strong RFD on this thing, not surprisingly, given that reflectivity pattern. This is a strong RFD. Big westerlies coming in here. These are right movers. That east-southeasterly motion being exacerbated by that front that is trying to undercut these right now. A little bit of inflow here too, coming in on the north side, some storm relative inflow. But with this RFD just surging out on the southwest side, this shear zone right here, the cyclonic shear being generated on that north side of the RFD, that's where you want to watch for tornado formation. Really right up against that notch, right up in there with this bulging RFD. That gets entrained underneath the mesocyclone, stretches it into the vertical, and you get quick development of a tornado there. So that's the tornado warned storm that we are watching right now. Just about to cross Highway 148 to the south of Petrolia, north of Henrietta, quite a ways, west of Hearnville. If you're in Hearnville, you want to be in your safe place. This is going well to the south of Petrolia. So Petrolia is right at the northwestern corner of that tornado warning. But it definitely is going to be moving to the south of Petrolia. This thing is moving east-southeast, Walton, Huggins area. It's going to potentially impact your locations if you're in Walton or Huggins or live to the east of Henrietta on Highway 82 there, a corridor that we've been storm chasing on for years, for decades now. If you live out east of there near Edwards, Huggins, or Walton, keep an eye on this storm upstream. Even an elevated mesocyclone here south of Jolly with that severe warning storm that looks like they dropped the severe warning. But you could definitely see that it's been undercut, but you still have this elevated mesocyclone. And there it is, the latest scan. 7 minutes later, you can see this circulation has passed to the east of Highway 148. So now it's to the south of Hearnville. Kind of a diffuse circulation, a bulging RFD here. Likely have some tornado-like vortices that are developing along the northern edge, that shear zone. Basically, you have west-northwesterlies here within that RFD. And then you got some storm relative inflow here. It's not the strongest inflow, but in a storm relative sense, relative to that east-southeasterly motion, it's still pulling in some inflow. And I definitely want to watch these locations here to tighten up. Looks like potentially a new circulation trying to tighten up there right in the apex of that bulging RFD. But even though this is tornado warned and you need to treat it as a tornadic supercell, certainly if you live in the Walton Huggins area or to the south of Hearnville, definitely in Hearnville, Probably about to get some big hail right in the middle of Hearnville there. Looks like that hail core passed just to the south of Petrolia on 148. But I still think these ones off to the east are the most dangerous storm. This one near Gainesville. Let me text the boots on the ground. Gainesville. So Gators headed east. You can easily catch this storm near Gainesville. It's in the core of the low-level jet. 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative felicity here, 2 to 300 meter squared per second squared there. So this storm definitely in the heart of that low-level jet, moving into that stronger wind shear. So that storm has the greater likelihood, I think, of tornado potential. And you can look at the echo tops, and look at that. It's got the highest echo tops as well. They're near Gainesville. Echo tops blowing up on it. Orange, 44 or 45,000 feet with that storm. So this thing's going to go tornadic, I think, here pretty soon. Let's take a look at the rotation. Got to keep a close eye on that rotation. Get a little bit closer of a view. Boy, it looks like that storm's starting to rotate up there as well, southeast of Bray, trying to move off that front a little bit. Even though surface winds just to the east of that cold front are a little bit out of the southwesterly direction, that's a pretty stout mesocyclone, at least on Frederick radar there, just to the east of Bray. Definitely a big hail core there along Highway 29 to the east of Bray there, even a little bit of a hook-like appendage with that one. Keep an eye on that storm as it's heading off to the east, eventually toward the Elmore City area. Norman, it looks like you dodged the bullet finally in terms of hail, for now at least, unless this thing up near Moore intensifies as it moves off to the southeast toward North Norman. A couple supercellular structures north of Lindsay. This thing's probably dropping some severe hail already. But looks like a little renegade trying to go up to the north of Paul's Valley here, just to the east of I-35 too. I'll have to keep a close eye on that one. And we do need to keep a close eye on this storm to the east of Bray. It has some pretty strong rotation on it. Well, not as strong when you look at Oklahoma City. But it does have a mesocyclone, and that rotation is increasing the vertical motion in that updraft. And so there is a pretty decent chance that there's hail, even up to gorilla size inside this. Usually those smaller, compact storms like these are a lot of times the biggest hail producers too. Ones that are embedded in an environment that has a lot of directional shear, a stout elevated mix layer, a cold pocket of air aloft. So that storm looks like definitely could be a hail producer. Doesn't have anything immediately to its south either. No storms to compete over thermodynamics with, or even any disruptors that could be nearby. But keep an eye out on this storm near Gainesville. We are watching this thing very closely. I know that one to the southeast of Petrolia is the tornado warning storm, but I think that one's a little bit to the west of the low-level jet axis. And this is the storm that you really want to watch, the one right near Gainesville. You can see it's trying to peel off a left split on its north side. Right split down near Lindsay starting to dominate, moving off to the east-southeast. Gainesville, you're about to get some big-time hail as well. The big hail is hitting Lindsay right now, all the way to Gainesville along that I-35 corridor. Inflow coming in from the due south here with that backed low-level jet this far east. So definitely some very good inflow coming into the storm as well near Gainesville. So this is a dangerous storm. I do think it has tornado potential, even short-term tornado potential there. Just to the southwest of Lindsay, that's where that circulation is ramping up. So I do think that this storm is going to be tornado warned very soon. The rotation is starting to ramp up here to the southwest of Lindsay. Just realizing the environment that this storm is embedded within makes me extremely concerned here for the Gainesville area. Definitely is a surface-based storm as well. Let's take a look at some of the environments. The environment that this storm is embedded within quickly. There we go. And there is a lot of wind shear. That's an environment with about 350 0 to 1 kilometer shear. I'll show you this map here in a second. We're watching this storm intensify right in front of our eyes. I would Definitely like to be on that storm, definitely. Looking at it from I-35, looking west from Taco Casa there in Gainesville. So here is that wind shear environment. This is basically 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity, but you can see that blob there of 300 plus that this storm is embedded within. That's the storm right there that the wrap is picking up. And notice how it's right in the vicinity of that trough axis. These ones back closer to Wichita Falls, you've got basically west-northwesterly winds aloft, so it's a little bit behind the trough axis. They are about to run in to some decent wind shear, at least according to the RAP analysis. But when you look at radar, it looks like they've been undercut a little bit by that warm front. And then you've got this cluster of renegades out here that's moving into that stronger wind shear. I definitely think that you need a tornado watch in effect here along that Red River, far northern Texas as well, because these renegades that are trying to develop out ahead of the front here, they're moving into an environment with very strong wind shear, 300 plus 0 to 1 kilometer shear. Plenty of surface-based instability, even though you've got about 100 to 150 convective inhibition that's being analyzed here by the RAP. That wind shear is so strong that those mesocyclones are going to be able to drill through that shallow stable layer right near the surface and likely develop tornado potential. And you've got probably about a couple hour window where that can happen. And you can see those low-level lapse rates drop off dramatically just to the east of that storm, but it's right along the gradient with that ejecting elevated mix layer. These are low-level lapse rates, however, and definitely can see that it's about to move in eventually into some more stable air off to the east of it, but it does have this pocket of decent air just off to the south of it, and it's kind of developed right on the northern edge of those decent lapse rates. So I do think that that storm, and you can see a little bit of a minimum there in that convective inhibition immediately to the south of that storm, might make it a little bit easier for it to drill through that shallow stable layer. So I think that there's some deeper moisture located just immediately to the south of it. And look at the real surface obs here and try to see what that environment looks like. And there you can see those temperatures are into the 70s just to the south of it, rising up into the low 70s down there at DFW Metroplex. Those are those steeper low-level lapse rates where you have this reservoir here of low 70s temperatures. Across southeastern Oklahoma, though, where you have that stronger wind shear, temperatures are in the low 60s, about 64 over 60 out there. A little bit more convective inhibition across the high country there of southeastern Oklahoma, but any storm that's able to exist and evolve along the northern edge of this reservoir of low to even mid 70s down there, low 60s as well, that's going to be a more favorable low level environment there for tornado potential. So let's go back to the radar now, see if this thing is tornado warned yet. I'd probably issue a tornado warning anyway on it, just because I know that the environment that it's in is conducive for tornado potential. And watching this mesocyclone ramp up, you can just see the physics play out right here live on radar. Just to the south of Lindsay, you can definitely see the concave nature to this gradient of reflectivity here. That shows that there's very strong inflow coming into this, a strong low-level jet out of the south. Gainesville, you're about to get hit by the hail core there. Big hail happening just to the west of I-35 along Highway 82. And that hail core is going to move east and eventually pass over I-35 and the 82 intersection there as well. But you can just see that inflow get pumping into this storm with that concave reflectivity gradient there. Definitely could see that rotation start to increase a little bit. That's as of 8 minutes ago. See if we can get another update. And you can definitely see it become more robust. Look at that RFD. Storm relative inflow starting to increase as well out ahead of this. So definitely a maturing mesocyclone. It looks like it's going to pass to the south of Lindsay, to the south of Gainesville as well. So probably passing between Gainesville and Valley View, a little bit closer to the Gainesville area as it's getting closer to I-35. And I do think that that storm has very real potential to go tornado warned even before it reaches I-35. So as this approaches I-35, if you're heading south toward the Gainesville area, south toward Dallas, out of Gainesville, if you look off to the west out of I-35, don't do it. But if you did, you definitely see a wall cloud with this supercell that's approaching I-35 to the south of Gainesville there. Dangerous supercell storm, big time mesocyclone there. So we can zoom in on it. And it's definitely maturing to the south of Lindsay. This thing is likely going to go tornado warned very soon. They're probably typing up that tornado warning right now as we are breaking down this live. And right now, this is basically potential vorticity. So you've got that hook-like appendage that's extending out, but you've got a big updraft that's above it, big rotating mesocyclone acting as a vacuum cleaner, trying to tilt all that vorticity into the vertical to develop a tornado. And when that happens, then you'll see this elongated appendage and reflectivity curl up and develop cyclonic curvature. And you can already see it happening right now, right along Farm Road 51 to the southwest of Gainesville. Dangerous circulation starting to tighten up here. Probably will go tornado warn very soon. We're watching this intensify right before our eyes here, waiting for this next velocity scan. And there it is. The next velocity scan, probably not quite enough yet to prompt a warning. You can see it's trying to peel off a vortex off to the north there, just to the south of Lindsay, up passing to the south of the Gainesville airport. And then you've got this circulation, RFD kind of bulging out on it. So it does look like it's going to take a little bit of time to mature. It's possible that this may not go tornado warn by the time it reaches I-35, but it definitely does have tornado potential. Sometimes it'll just take one scan and suddenly, bam, you'll see a full-blown tornado there because you have that elongated area of potential vorticity beneath the mesocyclone, starting to stretch it into the vertical. You can start to see some cyclonic curvature there as well to that appendage. And that storm to the north did go tornado warned. And that was that hailer that we were watching there, just to the east of Bray. It is radar indicated, but it is moving into a area of very strong wind shear. Much smaller storm here to the east of Bray, but that's where that circulation will be located. Pretty tight gradient there in the forward flank gust front, very tight gradient in the reflectivity. Likely a big hail core as well. We can use some of the dual pole products here to try to pick out where that hail core might be. And there you can see the hail right here, right over basically south of Highway 29, right along to the east of Bray. That's where that large hail is definitely located there. Definitely big hail with this storm. And this is a tornado warning in Oklahoma. Not seeing much in the way of strong rotation yet. Oh, actually, there it is. So yeah, this storm does have strong rotation. South of Highway 29, southeast of Bray there. This is what prompted that tornado warning. It is to the south of the hail core here. A lot of space but to the south of that storm. So it's not going to have any other storms that are going to develop and interfere with it. Definitely has a very strong rotation, pretty strong gate-to-gate shear there, right on the tip. So this circulation, the rain is wrapping right around that compact circulation there of that storm. And we just looked at the wrap model. Very strong wind shear associated with this thing, 350 plus, even 400, 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative felicity with this storm. So a very dangerous supercell here to the southeast, east-southeast of Bray, south of Highway 29. Very strong rotation on it. And there you can see where that circulation is located. That's in Oklahoma. And that tornado warning was allowed to expire to the east of Wichita Falls. And that's not surprising at all. That storm was not that impressive, even though it looked like impressive on velocity or on reflectivity. And it did have a pretty stout RFD. These have just been battling with that surging cold front, likely undercutting some of these updrafts here around Henrietta, south of Wichita Falls, but still big hail down here, rotating updrafts, elevated mesocyclones down in this environment, southeast of Wichita Falls. So these are definitely dangerous storms from a hail perspective. And we're still watching this storm to the south of Gainesville, approaching I-35. And if we use Oklahoma City radar, we're scanning up higher up in the storm, and you can kind of look at the depth of that mesocyclone, the health of it. And you can definitely see some storm relative inflow here, scanning high up in the storm there. But you're not really seeing anything too organized, but that radar, again, is too far away. And we're just watching this storm with tornado potential. That was as of about 5 minutes ago. south of Highway 29, approaching 2960. Rural terrain just to the southeast of Bray, but a very well-defined hook-like appendage here on the backside, and that circulation right on the tip of this hook, absorbing a little updraft there. But this is a small, compact storm moving into a strongly sheared environment, moving off to the east-southeast, right in the core of that shortwave trough as well. It does look a little bit strung out on reflectivity, but then you look at velocity and it has strong rotation there south of Highway 29, southeast of Bray. So, and it's observed. It is an observed tornado now. Damaging tornado, confirmed tornado located 8 miles southeast of Bray. And that's a damaging tornado. Weather spotters confirmed that tornado. And those are probably some very experienced spotters as well out there, being in Oklahoma. Let's take a look and see if we can see correlation coefficient. Maybe a little bit of a drop there right near N2960, but it's hard to tell. Could just be more of a radar artifact, unless that's it. Further to the southeast, that could be the tornado. This could be some old radar data potentially. Nevertheless, spotters do confirm that tornado. Right now, that is observed. Weather spotters confirmed that tornado 6:45 p.m., 8 miles southeast of Bray, moving southeast at 20 miles an hour. So this is a very compact storm moving into a strongly sheared environment. There's the latest scan, and I bet that debris ball is associated with it. Oh, it's a little bit off to the east, displaced. Radar, possible radar artifact, or that's a new circulation that's ramping up rapidly. As this one starts to weaken a bit, it's possible that could be a new circulation that's ramping up there. I'm going to take a look and see if I can see this. I think it's legit. So usually when you see spotter reports in Oklahoma, it's legit because their media chasers up there are really dialed into good storm chasers, experienced chasers up there. Not seeing any pictures on it right now just yet. Still not seeing anything online yet, but this is where that tornado would be located. It's now to the east of 2960, over that rural terrain out there. Seems to be this radar is having issues updating sometimes. So even though it does say 6:45, it is updated. That tornado looks like it touched down just to the south of Highway 29, to the west of 2960. Looks like it might have weakened a bit, maybe roped out just on approach to that farm road. 2960 there, just to the south of Lake Fuqua. So that's a lake I haven't been to in Oklahoma, actually. Let's take a look at echo tops, see how high up this storm is penetrating into the troposphere. It does have a high echo top, and it does look like it's cycling. You can kind of see this reinvigoration of that echo top. You saw that cell merger happening too. The other updraft that was probably associated with that tornado cyclone starting to spin down a bit. But it looks like that tornado is still on the ground, just east of 2960. Looks like it ramped up once again. Possibly a cycle trying to happen, but it looks like that back circulation is hanging on. So there's your tornado. We're zoomed way in here right now to the east of 2960. We're in Oklahoma, just to the southeast of Bray. Possible little correlation minimum there. Might be associated with that tornado. Maybe that's it. I don't think so. No. Definitely back a little bit further west, and it looks like the cell off to the south is about to try to merge with it. But look at that bean. Just an absolute isolated bean-shaped supercell right there, dominating southeast of Bray, probably about 10, 12 miles right now would be where that tornado would be located. Moving into that strong wind shear too. So far, that storm to the south of Gainesville looks like it has some new storms developing just to the south of it. But if you're in Foster, Tatum's, even Elmore City, you might want to take shelter. It's probably going to keep going east-southeast, but you never know. Sometimes these storms, when they start to occlude, especially, and have a tornado on the ground, they can develop a mind of their own, turn off to the north. But in general, this thing's moving east-southeast. It's about to have a cell merger here, but that's that circulation. Likely tornado, too, because look at this sharp reflectivity gradient. Inflow cranking into this tornado. Looks like a little bit of a sheath of rain, maybe atomized rain, wrapping all the way around that tornado right there. But very strong rotation, starting to spin down. It looked like it was spinning down a couple scans ago. Could ramp up once again. Could just be a little rope tornado now, starting to rope out as it occludes. Possible to tell through radar. That's why you need spotters and storm chasers here. With this tornado in the southern edge of that tornado warning, 8 miles southeast of Bray. It looks like it might have just weakened, but that other scan there showed it reinvigorating once again. So watching that very closely. Still observe. We'll see if there's any updates. So as of 6:45, confirmed tornado located 8 miles southeast of Bray. I haven't seen any pictures yet. Usually people will send me pictures. They see a tornado, especially a tornado that I might have missed. But this is the circulation that I'm watching here. You can see that I do have the Dora supercell back behind me there, just to show you textbook supercell structure. Big updraft right above that tornado there. There's the tornado below it, shot by Kyle Russell Allen. We're breaking down a real-time tornado threat right now, south of Oklahoma City, southeast of Bray. But I think that circulation is starting to spin down a little bit. I'm waiting for some of the new radar scans, but certainly did ramp up to the southeast of Bray. Large hail also with this storm. Definitely some big hail with an isolated storm like this. Strong elevated mix layer, cold pocket of air aloft, strong wind shear out to the east of this storm. Looks like that Renegade failed to survive out ahead of this storm. These ones that were tornado warned southeast of Wichita Falls are getting undercut a bit by that front, even though those are ahead of that little bulge within the dry line. And then you've got this Renegade near Gainesville crossing I-35. Looked like it was ramping up. I thought that was going to be the main event. And it is. Still has a decent mesocyclone on it, but it's battling these new storms that are developing immediately to the southwest of it. So they're starting to merge with this storm near Gainesville. Looks like Gainesville probably had a decent hail core near just to the south side of Gainesville. Lindsay, south side of Gainesville, now east of I-35. Very large hail, likely up to golf balls there, maybe even larger to the east of I-35, southeast of Gainesville, south of Cook. Just south of the Taco Casa, it looks like. Taco Casa got very close to sustaining some gorilla-sized hail there. Hail core right now over Farm Road 372, south of Cook, east of I-35. And we'll have to see if any of these supercells to the southwest can intensify. This one near Hood probably needs a severe thunderstorm warning. Likely some big hail with that. Down near Luis, north of Boulevard, southwest of Valley View, a big hail producer too. These certainly could mature into supercell storms, also with tornado potential. This one's a little bit too far east. I think this one north of Bonham is probably too deep into the stable air out there. And right now we've just got the one tornado warning. Spotter confirmed tornado too. 8 miles southeast of Bray at 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's about to absorb this little cell right now. So once it absorbs that cell, it'll probably reorganize. That might even give it an opportunity to get undercut by the front, but usually when they absorb these cells, it'll take just a little bit, then they'll ramp back up and develop an even bigger tornado. But there you can see that tornado cyclone spinning down a little bit. Let's take a look at velocity. Still a strong enough circulation to warrant this tornado warning. And if there is ground reports too that a tornado is in progress. 652 confirmed tornado was located 8 miles north of Velma, moving east at 20. So that's the latest report. That's about 5 minutes ago. So there's that tornado warning. Damaging tornado as of 6:52. So right about there, this radar scan, that's when that tornado was reported. So this is a little bit removed from the radar too, but you can see that it's got a very strong mesocyclone, decent gate-to-gate shear. So that tornado would be located right there. And spotters did confirm as of 6:52 that that tornado was on the ground earlier. And this would be due north of Velma. There you can see Velma. So I've got our code red mode on right now. I do have an overhead light that makes it a little bit less dramatic. And if I were to turn off that overhead light, then I think it would be a little bit more code red. But there is the tornado. 6:52 was when that was reported, 8 miles north of Velma. So I'm looking on the Twitter right now. So there's that circulation, 8 miles north of Velma right now. There's the hook-like appendage. It looks like a couple storms started to develop out ahead of it. That could be and I think you can see the front here too. No, it's probably some kind of a gravity wave actually. Or if this storm is on some type of a gravity wave deal. Maybe outflow. No, that looks like some type of a gravity wave. Nice. Could be an outflow boundary too, or maybe a gravity wave ripple along that front. Another storm trying to develop down near Loco. And a couple other storms here developed off to the south of it that are interfering with its inflow right now. Probably might shut down the tornado potential. I don't think that there's a tornado on the ground right now. There could be, though, back here near 2990 Road, just north of Camelback Road 2 up here. Still is circulating, so you want to assume that there is a tornado back there. And spotters reported it as of about 8 minutes ago. I'm going to the Indiana Storm Chasing Convention this weekend to do a keynote presentation on Saturday. So looking forward to that. Seeing some of my friends up there, storm chasing friends as well. Weather Gone Wild's going to be up there. Probably going to trim this into the mustache again. Usually do that during the winter. So I do think this tornado is probably lifted up into Oklahoma, but it still is showing rotation, so we got to keep an eye on it. That one near Gainesville that we were watching so far has not materialized, but it still is rotating. It still has decent rotation to the east of I-35, south of Cook there. Let me text Alex and let him know. And it seems to be moving out in front a little bit more, this storm to the southeast of Gainesville. Has this little storm, little updraft that it needs to absorb, that is trying to absorb right now, but still has strong rotation to the east of I-35 that we need to keep an eye on. Strong storm relative inflow southeast of Gainesville. Could wait for it in the Collinsville area on 377. Near Collinsville. So I do think that eventually this thing's going to ramp up, and it's probably going to go tornado warned at some point. Right now it's not. It has a severe thunderstorm warning, but definitely has some pretty big hail. Still has that possible tag there for tornado potential. Hail 1 inch in diameter. Oh, I'm going mustache. That's my winter look. Got to expose the smooth chin. So also this storm starting to materialize south of Hood. Keeping an eye on that. We're also watching this one northwest of Sanger. That has a very sharp reflectivity gradient. Big inflow into this storm right now. You could definitely get an idea of how healthy the storm is by looking up at the echo tops. And look at that one southeast of Gainesville. You can tell that's where the rotation is. Rotation causes additional updraft, strengthens the updraft in the mesocyclone, and it penetrates further up into the troposphere. And that's why you got these tops spiking up to 50,000 feet just southeast of Gainesville. He's on it right now, Alex. He's not gonna be able to fly the drone at night, but these are the highest echo tops anywhere you look. And that tornado warning storm, of course, has high echo tops as well. You can tell it's rotating, penetrating high up into the troposphere. And in fact, it even seems to be getting stronger as it's moving off to the southeast in terms of echo tops. And it looks like on radar reflectivity as well. This thing continues to organize. New circulation trying to form further to the east, so I do think it's cycling. Looks like that other circulation may have occluded. Now we've got a ramping up of the new circulation. That's why these echo tops are blowing up. A lot of times when a storm is just starting to organize, the echo tops will shoot up into the air. And then when that occlusion cuts into the circulation and tightens up the tornado, it basically cuts mass off of the mesocyclone as well. So the echo tops will actually fall down when the tornado's on the ground. And then when it starts to ramp up in time for the next cycle, those echo tops will build back up taller in the atmosphere. And it looks like that's what we're seeing right here with a cyclic tornado warned supercell to the west of Purnell, Oklahoma. Relatively rural area here, north of Highway 7, northeast of Velma, northwest of Ratliff City. .3050 road we got to keep an eye on. Radar indicated now, so that does jive well with our observation that this storm is cycling. That the early tornado likely weakened a bit, and now we've got a new circulation starting to ramp up. Definitely is a tornadic supercell moving into an environment with very strong wind shear. So we're talking like 400 plus, 0 to 1 kilometer shear now. Big time rotation with that storm. That is in Oklahoma. Cat, you need to drop south and get on this storm if you're in Norman. Just kidding. By the time you got down to Paul's Valley, it's about a 45-minute drive down there. Probably have to get it out in the Arbuckle. So this area here, north of Ardmore, that's the Arbuckle Mountains. So it's a very difficult place to chase where the storm is moving. Moving in the direction of the Arbuckles. Remember that tornado north of Springer that moved into the Arbuckle Mountains up there? It was impossible to chase. In fact, it was nearly impossible to rate. It was given an EFU rating initially, and then finally sent out a chopper out there, and they were able to rate that tornado. But this is the one that we're watching now, west of Purnell, northwest of Tussey, Tatum's area. Keeping a close eye on that one. And also this Gainesville supercell, southeast of Gainesville, definitely starting to ramp up there. Looking at Oklahoma City radar, it's harder to see that circulation, but when you look at Dallas-Fort Worth, it's got a clean view of that storm. And definitely shows that circulation there. It's pretty broad right now, not quite enough to warrant a tornado warning, but we're going to keep on watching it. We do have this active tornado warning. Tatum's moving into the Arbuckles there. Pretty dangerous storm. We're going to keep a close eye on it. New circulation starting to ramp up northwest of Tussey. So this is the circulation we're watching. Definitely cycling. In fact, it looks like they dropped that tornado warning for that storm. Even the severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped. It's possible it's cycling. Remember, the Clinton tornado was about to produce the tornado out near Burns Flat Airfield. Then in the next cycle, they dropped the tornado warning. I got gas, and then bam, the tornado touched down right on the northeastern side of Clinton when it ramped up in time for that next cycle. So sometimes those cycles can happen really quickly. And it looks like you got a big hail producer developing to the west of Wayne Payne out here. See the Wayne Payne exit on I-35. Big hail producer. Looks like it's starting to organize and has a hook-like appendage on the southwest side. Starting to rotate a bit as well. West of I-35, heading toward Wayne Payne. It's probably going to be a severe warning storm here soon, capable of producing some big hail. And this one, the former tornado producer, is about to get absorb this updraft to the north of Ratliff City as well. And so its near-term tornado potential does look quite bleak. And now the storm that probably has the greatest tornado potential is this one just to the southeast of Gainesville. Well, probably this one north of Sanger too that's starting to organize. So I would say these two storms have the next tornado potential. This one to the southeast of Gainesville still has that hook-like appendage starting to show itself. Definitely some good inflow there to the southeast of Gainesville. Not as much rotation down near Sanger yet, but it is the tail end Charlie storm. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one to see if it'll mature. Big hail core to the southeast of Gainesville. So if you're heading southeast out of Gainesville on Farm Road 902, you'll probably encounter some golf balls out there. Maybe some big hail southeast of Gainesville. But still watching this area just to the southeast for that hook-like appendage to stick out of it. But it does have a lot of storms to the south of it. So with a south-southwesterly low-level jet, this one's blocking that low-level jet from hitting from reaching the storm. So I might advise Alex eventually to drop south to this Sanger storm. It'd be in the direction of home anyway, and this southern storm would be a lot more visible at night. This one heading toward Collinsville, though, I still think has tornado potential up here. Never underestimate the northern storm of two storms located in close proximity like this. Sometimes the northern storm will kick out an RFD that can choke off this other one. Look at that hail core about to hit I-35 to the north of Sanger. Looks like a big hail core there. Could cause some problems. That's going to be crossing I-35 shortly, and that storm could mature and develop tornado potential as well. So that's my breakdown so far this evening, everybody. Looks like we've lost all these tornado warnings. HRRR did a pretty good job at handling this setup. Kind of further south on a trough with kind of a negative tilt on it. Turn off the code red. There we go. Pretty stable, 64.5 over 62 there. That's a weather station here on the Radar Omega app. It's pretty cool. Davis weather station there. I-75 northeast of Dallas. So I think these storms are going to struggle once they move into that more stable air, located closer to Sherman, down to McKinney. Highway 75 out there. But a good use there of that weather station. Showing also relatively calm winds at the surface, and then just above the ground, you've got a low-level jet of about 40 to 50 miles an hour. So that creates a lot of low-level wind shear. The decoupling of that boundary layer, a little bit of a stable layer, can cause the surface winds to weaken, the winds just above the ground to ramp up. That's a pretty common phenomenon in the southern plains, low-level jet. See the temperature fall too, so it is becoming a bit more stable. So a cool use of real-time weather data just to the southeast of these storms. These ones are undercut northwest of Bowie, and we're kind of watching this cluster of renegades now, and the original tornado producer that at least now has a special weather statement here. Just a strong thunderstorm now. So that's probably the event. You also have these severe storms to the east of Oklahoma City, kind of some linear, more disorganized modes. McLeod, north of Shawnee. Shawnee is under the severe thunderstorm warning with that batch of storms from the west. Big windbag event here, and some embedded hail cores about to hit McLeod. Northeast of Newalla, some decent hail up there. Decent hail core southwest of Prague, even there. Bethel, you're about to get rocked by some big time hail coming in here with this storm. Almost an elevated mesocyclone there with that storm that's moving pretty fast. Windbag event, hail 1 inch in diameter, 60 mile an hour winds with that mode of convection up there. Probably should keep an eye on this storm, this southern one. It's been persistent, but it keeps absorbing these new cells off to the south. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on this storm as well. That was our former tornado warning storm. And using Oklahoma City radar scanning higher up, you can see that it looks like the biggest hail core is with that left split up near Valley View. So that's some big hail now. Wow, look at that. Northwest of Valley View up there. Definitely some big hail. And it's approaching I-35 as well, so the biggest hail being indicated with this to the west of Valley View. And these storms are starting to look a little bit elevated now. So I do think that some of that stable air is beginning to win out. So I think that our tornado potential may be on the downswing, certainly. That's the good news. But I'm going to keep watching these storms up here, southeast of Gainesville, down to Sanger, I-35, see if something can dominate out of that cluster of storms. But usually when you have that low-level stable layer and you start to get other storms that are competing with each other, they only increase the stability in the low levels. So usually with a setup like this, you want to have a very isolated storm, not competing with anything around it. And that's what happened up in Oklahoma to the southeast of Bray with those spotter confirmed tornadoes. So that was our target area as of this morning. Not bad. We did say it was conditional, but it does look like that tornado fell inside the red area, which is good news. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to my radar breakdown this evening. Never stop chasing.